Hey there, I'm Gary. I'm the CEO of High Five, and today we've got Brad Klynsmith. Brad is the lead singer of an amazing band called Gangs of Ballet. Okay, Gangs of Ballet is situated in Durban, has been going since 2011, has won numerous awards, including the MTV Africa 5 Salma nominations, an MK Award, and 7 top 10 singles across numerous national radio stations. So thanks, Brad, for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Cool,
really
man.
Cool to be here.
It's just, there's obviously quite a few similarities between running a band and a company. And I thought there could be lots of learnings that come out of this conversation. So let's see how it goes. So tell us more just about, running Gangs of Ballet and how you got into actually running the band and leading it, and to where it is today.
Yeah, well, we didn't actually know that we were running a business, to be honest, until we were a couple of shows in, and all of a sudden you play a show and cash arrives in your hand, and you're like, who gets this? Where does this money go? And what happens? And then all of a sudden the fees get high and all that stuff. And so Gangs originally started. I wanted to play bass in a band, and my brother's an amazing drummer, and we kind of we thought, oh, we'll have a go. And there's another guy fronting the band. And later he left, and I always say I was demoted to playing guitar and singing. And it kind of just went on from there. We started, our first show was the 6th of April, 2011. And it was in this filthy, disgusting club called Unit 11, but it was like amazing. Like 300 capacity, 600 people there, hot, sweaty mess, best case scenario for us, terrible sound system. And we had a great reception from the word go. And after the first couple of shows, we really felt like instant momentum, which was like one of the key things that actually pushed us into what we wanted to do. And we've always, that little principle of momentum is something we've really, really treasured. Like we've been really sensitive about momentum in the band the whole time, and making sure that we maintain momentum, because you work so hard to get there. And like I've seen a lot of other bands where they gain the momentum and think, oh, finally, but thankfully, I think we had the presence of mind to say, well, you work for momentum, and momentum creates success, So we would have to like push through that. But yeah, it's been a learning from all sides for us.
So you're saying sometimes the momentum like builds up, and you get to a point and you think you've arrived, but then you actually realize you've actually got to keep going on? Or you're saying sometimes you're almost like going too far past the momentum and pushing it too much?
So I find, like, especially with kind of up and coming guys, it's like an obvious example is when they think if they sign a record label, like a record deal, then they're made. But that's only step one.
Yeah.
So like, it's very underrated how hard it is to gain momentum. And momentum is not the destination, that's the starting point. It's only once you have momentum that you gain success. So it's kind of like you actually like work so hard just to get to that point. But you've got to double your workload once you hit that thing, because it's only at that point that you start to take steps forward.
I think a similar example to that would be up and coming like startups, or small companies. You kind of kick off, and then I think they get all excited about raising finance or landing their first client, only to realize the work actually only starts there, and you can't arrive and settle. It's about like
that's your first night. That's your first sleepless night. As that money hits the bank, it's your first sleepless night, dude.
and it's, tell me some of the like the lessons that you've learned just over the last 10 years. I mean, you went I can almost equate it to like pretty much a startup to a fairly successful band, winning awards. Like, what were some of the hardest periods over those like 8 years?
So the moment we got some momentum, we realized that we actually wanted to, for a band, you've got the potential of turning it into either art and just fun as a hobby, or you can turn it into a career. And I think we saw this momentum, and we all wanted it to be a career, and there's a huge difference. So whenever we got opportunities, like in the early days, we'd play with some of the bigger bands, open for them, and we'd make sure we'd buy them a drink afterwards and, ask them questions. And I think they were all expecting like to ask, oh no, what guitar are you playing? What pedal are you using? But we quickly recognized that the bands that had upfront success, the back end was really, really, really tight. So we would sit and ask them about touring costs, tax,
Oh my goodness.
finance. How do you guys have salaries, or do you break it up each fee? And we started to, as much as the front end is the easy part for us because that's what we were producing anyway. That was our exhaust fumes. It was that back end thing that we had to like study a little bit to actually understand how to start a sustainable business. And that's kind of the key. It's like, you can start a business or you can plan for a sustainable one. You know, what are those little check marks along the way? And obviously we made a lot of terrible errors along the way. One of which, I remember actually now that we're talking, one of our biggest errors was when we got money, we got a big lump sum of money in, and we just thought, oh, we need to refresh our gear, dude. And we went off. We would basically put ourselves at square one again because we just didn't have the presence of mind to just take a breath after that, you know. It's all those little back end things of having how to build something that will last. And it's been successful for 7 years now, you know.
Yeah.
We crossed the 2-year mark, and we could easily go on, but life's just changed for us. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me more about that. I mean, you recently it came out obviously in the news now that the band's breaking up and you're wrapping things up. I mean, tell us how you came upon that decision. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I refer to us as active creators, you know. So music is something that we do. It's not who we are. It's like that kind of thing, you know. It's like one of our outlets. And Johnny is he's the keyboard bass player. He's like top graphic designer. I mean, he's working on CR7 currently, which is Cristiano Ronaldo's label. And Sgt. Pepper, which is a local label. Josh has recorded his own albums. He's doing session work for guys like Matthew Mole. In the last 3 years, I've built phone applications. I'm managing other artists. I've got some crypto miners running in the background. So we've kind of had excuse me. We've kind of had all these different things going on the side, you know. So when Gangs ended, it was never like a stuff. Now what? You know, we were kind of generating these second lives in a sense, and it's more like we kind of got to the point where like Gangs has been amazing. We're all still mates. Like relationally, we've been like amazing.
Yeah.
We've really worked on that to make sure that we don't fight, because that's how 90% of bands kind of break up.
Yeah.
And we've also had an exit strategy in some degree, and it's been an incredible process. We've got the photos and videos to show for it. We've got the networks that we've generated over that time. We've set ourselves up for the next kind of season, and that's kind of how we felt about it, you know.
It's incredible to look at it. Almost like it's almost been the business or the band per se. It's almost been like a bridge onto the next thing, and almost like figuring out as it goes along. Tommy, you mentioned quite an interesting thing of how you've retained friendships, you know, and I guess it would almost be like a preservation of culture, you know, internally. So how have you managed to do that in the last 7 years? I mean, you don't often hear that, where bands can survive past the 2-3 year mark. You know, there's always a fight, you know, and the same with business and partnerships. You know? So keep to find out more about that.
You know, my take on it is that, and this is just how I'm wired, is that business it's rands and cents and principles and delivery dates, all that kind of stuff, but really is humans talking to humans.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you know, so the actual the most precious commodity you've got is the person on the other side of the phone to you, you know, and I think if you can quickly learn to respect that you know, what you're dealing with is another human being that's got their own life, it's got their own kids, their own problems, their own stresses, like you do, it becomes far manageable. So we work really, really hard. So like even with like obviously with the bands and stuff, like you get sponsorships and guys will give you gear and all that kind of stuff. We actually said no to a lot of like weird sponsors just because we didn't actually know these people. We didn't connect with them as humans, and we invested our relational time in brands and people that we believed in. And we've had, which means that every relationship that we've had has been pretty much like 4 or 5 years each relationship. And they've been extra for us, you know, and that's also helped with our business. You know, if someone's handing you guitars, you don't have to buy a guitar, you know. So, and as an external thing, we become friends with an industry. You know, we've got deep relationships around the industry, and we've got a network that they'll not only help us out, they want to help us out because we've taken time to connect relationally. And then even just in the band, like we've got essentially you've got three personalities with three different backgrounds, three different styles that you've got to kind of manage. And we've had a very flat organization, where we've erred on preferring the person on the opposite side to ourselves.
Wow.
So humility has been quite like an important thing. I think the biggest issues where 99% of issues with the relationship is when there's an ego involved.
Yeah.
When you want to be right and you don't allow someone else to be right, even if they're wrong.
Yeah.
You know, there's no presence of mind. Like when you self-consume, this is my thing. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make the plays. I'm going to go forward. Inevitably, you'll get a couple of wins, but you actually open yourself up for a lot bigger losses. You know, I think, like, to put in perspective, if Gang has gone 7 years, it's 7 years that we've invested our time, blood, sweat, tears, cash, everything. So now in 7 years to have a fallout with one of the members, it just leaves like a really bad taste for 7 years of investment.
Yeah.
And we just not prepared to do that. So we've been very, very careful along the way. Everybody, if someone's not putting the weight, we speak to them. We say, dude, let's do this together, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Feedback. You know, they say to us, you know, if you're not putting weight, it's not nice to hear, but the reality is, if you're all going to make the decisions and you're all going to carry the weight, you've all got to make the decision and you've all got to carry the weights. And that's the understanding that we've had as a band.
Brilliant. And then what advice would you give to up-and-coming musicians now, you know, that are kicking off their career as a band?
I would say, like, a really important thing now is just to have a bit of a plan. So I probably meet with every 2 or 3 weeks, I'll have a young person come and say, hey, please can I have a coffee with you? And I'll sit and just give them a few pointers how to get into the industry, right? And a very clear thing that they all have is that the art is the easy part, you know? So creating the project, the sound, getting it recorded, that's actually, it's not hard because it's a very natural thing for them. But the problem is they arrive with a product and they say, oh, stuff, what? And the best they can muster up is, I'm just going to put it on Facebook. And that means that you're going to get your 10 family members, your 50 best friends involved in what you're doing, right? But there are actually ways, you know. So I would say, like, actually work your way back a little bit and say, where do I want to play? Who do I want to hear it? And how do I do that? And treat yourself as a creative. So I had a real like a epiphany moment where I used to see myself as a musician, and then I thought, oh, wait a minute, I'm a creative. So everything that I approach is creative. You know, like the way I drive from A to B, how I see the world, what I wear, and how I approach business is I have got a creative space in my head that should be able to look at something at an alternate view. And that's, so as much as important the product is, you can be creative in getting the product into people's hands and getting them to hear it and seeing all those kinds of things. There's no rules. Just remember, there's no rules.
I love that. And I mean, we're gonna wrap up now. But well, tell me, what are the future plans for yourself and the team?
Yeah, so I'm heading to the States really, really soon, and I'm gonna do some studying there. And I've obviously got some friends over there I'm gonna see and write with, and so that's going to be really, really interesting. I've never lived outside of Durban. So that's going to be a real cool time for myself and my wife. And the other guys, like I say, we've been involved in all these different projects. I'm also managing guys. So it's going to be an overseas kind of management thing that I'm going to be doing. And we've all got these other projects kind of running alongside. So I think for the first time, it's kind of strange that for the first time, like being in a band, you're actually married to these people. Like I spend more time with these guys than I do my own wife. Yeah. And for the first time in like 7 years, we can actually just do what we want. I don't have to check. If I want to go on a holiday, I don't have to check the Oak with the Oaks. Hey guys, can I go? Because we haven't got a show or anything. You know? So it's a whole new little lease on life, which I'm really excited about. And I've got a huge belief that what you do next should be better than what you did last. So I'm really, really excited about the future.
Brilliant. Well, this is just to wrap up, like the final 60 seconds. So just a quick, it's keen to find out more about you, just on a practical sense. Like, how do you spend your day on average?
I'm a little bit of a night owl, so I've had to learn about myself, which I think is really, really important. And so I found that I'm way more productive at night. So I generally go to bed 12 o'clock, and then I'll sleep until about 8 o'clock. So that I'm just justifying my late start in the morning.
Durbanites.
Yeah, full Durbanite. So I'll get up. I'll generally do like answer mails and WhatsApps and all that kind of stuff first thing in the morning, and then I'll structure my day around meetings and admin. I've also got I've got all these different spheres that I've got to attach. But I'll also I learned recently really about myself as I've understood myself is that I did the Strength Founders course, and my top thing was connectedness, which is connecting people and networking. And then ideation. And ideation is conceptualizing, understanding, thinking of new ideas, that kind of thing. And one of the things in that is that they say you must set aside time to think. So most days I'll set aside an hour or just to sit, to think, conceptualize, and I found that I'm way more productive. And I've really found in the last 2-3 years, the more that I've understood myself, the more productive I've been, and I've actively worked with my strengths. And I used to get taught, you got to be this completely balanced person, you've got to work on your weaknesses and your strengths, but I've kind of flipped around in the last few years, and I've found that I'm way more productive when I just do what I'm good at.
Like doubling down.
Do what I do. So, and I think like so far that's kind of worked, and I feel like I'm in a bit more creative space than I've ever been. And also connect with different spaces, like I find that I don't know how it all works out, right? But I connect when there's water around me. So like a shower, a surf, or even sitting in front of waves or watching water moving, it feels like my brain works a lot kind of sharper and clearer. So I know that's all kind of like out there. I think what I'm trying to say is that I think I work with what's best, what makes me work best. So those are the scenarios that I put myself into.
I hear what you're saying. I think we should all probably surf a lot more if we are in the
board meetings. Let's go.
Board meetings. And then and just to wrap up, what have you been reading lately? What's inspiring you? And what have you read lately over the last 5 or 10 years that's actually got you to where you are now? That's actually set some of your direction, and inspired you a lot?
I'm a fairly philosophical guy. This is The World's Greatest Salesman. Was the last book that I read. I actually loved it. It was amazing. Really short, simple read, and really, really profound. I think if you look beyond what's even being said, I think it's really beautiful to read. But to kind of understand the broader picture is really, really powerful. I'm not a huge reader. But reading really tires my mind. I do consume a lot of media though, and I feel like I actually spend time like watching certain individuals, and get an understanding of generally what's going on in the world.
Anyone inspiring you lately?
Media, entertainment, music. I've been, I kind of try to go broad, and I listen to comedians, and then guys kind of commentating. I found one or two things lately of Russell Brand, which he's just a fascinating character, and he's a really interesting, provoking guy, and he's obviously very, very clever in what he does. So some of those kinds of things, and then I also watch like very random guys. Like I've been watching a lot of stuff on Marilyn Manson, even.
Wow.
I like to understand how they're very powerful people that have got influence, and I just like to watch. I don't watch to agree with people. I want to understand people. So so I consume a lot of different kind of media. I just do things that interest my brain. I've also been watching a lot of magic tricks. That stuff just.
It's quite interesting you say that. Like a lot of times you don't actually have to agree with what the people are saying, but it's actually good just to hear practically why they're saying it and almost like finding out their point of view.
Yeah, and what makes them tick, there's a lot of really influential people in the world for a reason, and to understand that, and not just to kind of segregate yourself into your own little corner as well, and your own little belief system, and have a little wider worldview. I think it's, even if you don't agree with someone, like it's important that you're able to embrace a lot of people, and because you need to be embraced on many levels yourself. So
Cool, man. Well, how can the audience reach out to you? What's the best way of, have you got any social accounts like on Twitter or Instagram?
Yeah, so I'm most active probably on Instagram and Facebook, and it's all at Brad Klynsmith.
Cool.
It's pretty simple. Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot for your time. Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
I know. I've probably haven't tweeted for 4 years. So.
I know it feels like a lot of guys are migrating from Twitter to Instagram these days. Hey. So.
Yeah, unless you started in crypto, then apparently that's like the crypto Bible. People just tell you what's going on.
Oh, so on Twitter, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of where all the tech junkies hang out. So. Yeah. But yeah, man, thanks a lot for your time. We appreciate it, and looking forward to like staying in touch. Maybe there's so much to talk about, but maybe we can hit episode 2. And all the best for the States, man. Let's stay in touch. Yeah, cool, man.
Shot, dude. Thank you so much.
High five.
Whoa.